the trickle-down economic model has failed the test of deploying capital to generate benefits in the best way possible for the country. Going back, 1967, the NCCK, National Council of Churches of Kenya, did a report. Another report was done by ILO in 1971. And also the sessional paper number 1 of 1986 diagnosed the problem and blamed the trickle-down economic model for our state of development. It also identified agriculture and the informal sector as the areas that have the highest economic returns in terms of employment and equity. When I talk about agriculture and I talk about the informal sector, it costs roughly $1 million to create one job in the capital-intensive formal manufacturing sector. It costs between 100,000 and 200,000 to create one job in the informal or informal manufacturing sector. And therefore, to make policy choices when we are in the kind of situation we are, when we have 10 million people without jobs, when we have a debt crisis, and when we have a huge sector that is not working, then we have to carefully craft policy choices so that we can move our country to the next level. I will give you an example. We just inaugurated a gun assembly factory up in Ruiru, which we built at a cost of 4 billion shillings. That factory created 100 jobs. It means it costed 40 million, to create one job. Kitui County, I want to give you the other side of the story. Kitui County created a garment manufacturing industry. Kitui County spent 168 million and created 600 jobs. So, if you do the math, it means it costed Kitui County 280,000 to create one job. That tells you that if we had invested in garment factory like Kitui County, our 4 billion would have created 14,000 jobs. So the policy choices we need to make is not necessarily how much money we have, it is the policy choices we make. Where do we invest? And that is the difference between the trickle-down economic model and the bottom-up economic model. It's as simple as that. Let me also tell you the following. Because we have a huge 16 million workforce in the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector, let me dissect for you that about 5 million of these micro and small and medium enterprise players have some form of formality, graduated. 10 million of them are actually in what we call a lottery. Let me clarify it further. Of the 19 million Kenyans, every year we inject another 800,000. Of these 800,000, 50,000 are absorbed by the corporate sector. Another 150, 120,000 are absorbed by the formal SME sector. The remainder, about 600, 700, enter a space that we can actually call a lottery. They are not sure of what to do. They don't know how much they will make. On a good day, they make 100 shillings, sometimes 200 shillings a day. On a very good day, they make 300 shillings. And on a completely bad day, the council askaris go away with all their wares and they make zero. That is the kind of situation we are in, and that is where millions of Kenyans are. In our plan, as we listened to the people of Kenya around the world, we came to the conclusion.
We know you are the street king and we respect that. Nataka niite ma-MCA watu, tuko na ma-MCA wanasimama, wakuje hapa, waongee na sisi dakika moja, watuambie vision iko aje pale mashinani, watuambie mambo inaendeleaje pale mashinani. Kumbuka, tutanyonga waafisa. Wanyongwe wasinyongwe. Wanyongwe wasinyongwe. Haya, ma-MCA wetu tafadhali. Kujeni muongee na watu. Mseme venye tunaendeleza mambo ya chama yetu. Wanyongwe. Haya. These are MCAs. Unaona sisi hata tuko na muhindi. Wahindi pia waseme mambo yao. Waingie kwa county assembly, wafunze watu mambo ya biashara yetu ya bangi, watutafutie soko huko India. Si ndio? Si mnajua India is the biggest pharmaceutical country in the world. Na ile hemp mingi tutapeleka wapi? Ndio maana unatuona tuko na Wahindi hapa, si ndio? My friend, introduce yourself na uongee na watu kidogo. 2 minutes, alafu tusonge. Asante.
Wajakoya fire! Fire! Wajakoya moto! Kwa majina naitwa Wanyama. Iko tu karibu na ile ya Wajakoya, lakini ni Wanyama. I'm an aspirant in Ruai, Kasarani constituency. Watu wote wa Nairobi ambao mko hapa, ningependa kuwaomba, kazi ya marketing of our party is very simple. Sio kama huko kwingine unaweza pigwa. Huku kwetu very simple, meet the people, ongea nao, wanataka pesa, hao watu wote wanataka do, So the moment you meet the people, watakuwa wanataka do. Na you tell them, professor ako na formation, Na sisi ambao tuko nyuma yake, maze mambo si rahisi. Mambo ni tunapigana huku kwingine, hao jamaa wamejihami, lakini tunaomba nyinyi mahali mko, maze kumbuka Roots Party even in your prayers, Kumbuka Roots Party, kumbuka kuna wasee hapa tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 tukipatana hapa nje kwa Kanjo, uniambie umekaziwa parking, I'll give you my parking hapo ndani ya county hapo. Tunashukuru sana, tunapigia Wajakoya, tingiza mti. Roots Party fire.
Tingiza mti.
Yes. Mimi I'm a telecommunications engineer. I've been working on the Safaricom network for the past 12 years. I'm responsible for the Nairobi East Network. Tukisema Nairobi East Network pande ya Safaricom, tunasema venye Thika Road imekata kutoka Thika hivyo, ikikuja iende ingie Ngong Road hivi, hadi Ngong, pande hii, pande ya East. That is what I've been managing for the past 12 years. Na I'm very sure there is no complaint ya mtu hajakuwa na network. Kama unatoka Nairobi East, if there is a complaint about network, niko hapa, niko very sure I will escalate mahali penye kunafaa. Otherwise, big up my good people. Tuko pamoja.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for the launch of our manifesto for Roots Party of Kenya. My name is Arjun Chauhan. I'm running for MCA Parklands High Ridge. If we have people registered in Westlands constituency, please don't forget to vote for me. And my party leader, my father figure, Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya and Justina Wamai. In a short while, we are going to show you our manifesto. It's for our nation. All I would say is please vote wisely and peacefully. Na musisahau kutingiza miti. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
Tingiza mti.
Hamjambo wa Kenya. Wajakoya oye. Majina yangu naitwa Jonathan Bet, natoka Kitale Cherangani. Mimi nasimama katika chama cha UDP, lakini mkurugenzi mkuu ni Chakahoya hoye. Hoye. Mimi naomba kwamba iwapo Chakahoya atakuwa president, na ninatumai atakuwa president, mimi nitakuwa waziri wa ukulima. Hili nipande bangi, replace mahindi kwa vile mahindi huko Cherangani iko bei ya chini. Wajakoya!
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jambo. My name is Naran Arjan, and I'm vying for Mugomoini Langata. Neguo, Tingiza Miti. We have a vision, and I'm so proud with our party leader, Wajakoya and Christina. We will make it. This is the vision we have, and is the future for Kenya. Thank you.
Yeah. Simuona ground iko. Yeah. Sasa nataka jamaa mwingine hapa atuongeleshe, alafu ndio tuendelee.
Roots Party oe. Wajakoya oe. Kenyans, I want you to listen to me. Kwa majina naitwa Rogers Okumu Baraza. I come from Western, and if we elect Professor Wajakoya today, mimi ndio naenda kukua MCA wa chama cha Roots Party wa the incoming president, the 5th president, Professor Wajakoya. Professor Wajakoya comes from my ward. Ni Mungu sio Mungu. Si ni kweli? I want to tell you this, my fellow Kenyans. The health, as we speak, the health sector is down. The economy is dying. Security is dead. And as I speak to my fellow Kenyans today, I want you guys to elect a visionary leader. I want you guys to elect a leader who is going to do and work on actions. And that leader is none other than Professor Wajakoya. I want also you guys to listen to me as we unveil our manifesto. If you look at the gentleman seated there, Professor, you look at the strong woman that Roots Party has managed to take over as the running mate. Are they not worth the leaders Kenyans want. Lastly, my brothers, Roots Party, vile mnatuona, has educated leaders. Umeona mtu hapa mwenye anavuta bangi? We guys are saying we need bangi as medicinal value. We need marijuana to improve the economy of this country. I won't say much, my brothers, but I want to urge you, my fellow youth, that come 9th August 2022, which is only around 30-40 days to come, please do us a honor as we celebrate the liberation of this country. Freedom is coming. Thank you, my brothers.
Sisi tunasema freedom is bangi. Freedom is what? I want to call a youth leader from Mandera, jamaa anaitwa Eden, ambaye ana represent Waislamu. Waislamu pia wako kwa Roots Party wengi sana. Yeah? Eden. Kuja uongee na watu kidogo.
Wajakoya oye. Mimi naitwa Adan and I'm from Mandera. Mimi niko hapa ku represent Waislamu na Wasomali community at large. Sasa I'm part of the officials ya Roots Party of Kenya. Leo it is kwa schedule yetu pia ni we have to lazima tuuze sera yetu pia. Kwanza leo ni siku ya furaha. Ile tsunami inatendeka hapa, it is felt from Nairobi to Kingston in Jamaica. Sini namna hiyo? Kwanza kuambia some few points about Professor Wajakoya. Kuna watu wenye walikuwa wanasema Wajakoya hakuwa anajulikana na he is a project or whatever. So Wajakoya, kuna watu wengi kama rafiki yangu anaitwa Anchoko kwa hapa na mimi mwenyewe whom he have sponsored to go to universities. Sasa mtu wanyonge kama mimi sasa ndio tuna recognize Wajakoya. Si lazima Wajakoya ajulikane na state watu wenye wako kwa wenye wanajiita mahaslas na sijui majina zingine. So kama wanyonge wanaweza recognize Wajakoya, si lazima wengine wajue Wajakoya ni nani. Si ndio? Sasa sisi ndio wenye wanapiga kura na sisi ndio tutaamua. Si ni namna hiyo? Kitu ya pili, kuna maulamas na watu wa kanisa wenye walikuwa wanasema bangi ni mbaya. Okay, sisi tunatarajia wakuje watuambie okay, hii kitu kama mna legalize, si lazima tusikize watu wenye wanasema maheta, si ndio? Sisi tunajua hii kitu will be legalized. Si ndio? Sasa hata juzi tulikuwa tunaona kwa media watu wanasema hii kitu ni mzuri, hata mtu fulani akiingia tutalegalize. Ni kama tu wanaiba idea yetu, si ndio? Sasa sisi tunasema hiyo ni idea ya Roots Party of Kenya na Wajakoya, si ndio? Sasa kama walikuwa wanaogopa mbeleni, sisi tunauza sera yetu. Kitu ya pili walisema termin snake ni kitu mbaya, ama walikuwa wanaona kama ni that famine of nini inajulikana countrywide. I mean worldwide. Just to touch on a point on the cost of snakes, cobra's venom ina cost around 153 per gallon. Dollars, that is in dollars. Sasa ikikuja kwa pesa yetu, after 3 months ama 4 months tumelipa pesa ya wa China. Si ndio? Wanakataa, wanasema bank haina pesa. Wanasema bank haina pesa. Na tumewaonyesha list yenye inaonyesha prices ya bank kama countries zenye wananunuanga na ngapi. Sasa in 1 year time hiyo pesa yote yenye tunadaiwa tunamaliza, si ndio? So Kenya literally itakuwa country kubwa yenye watu wanakuja wafanye farming hapa. Pharmaceutical companies watakuja hapa wajue sasa venye tunafanya farming, wakuje wachukue venye wata extract hiyo sumu na bangi, ndio waende watengeneze dawa wakuje watutibu, si ndio? Sasa mimi nawaambia okay, kitu kingine watu wasiseme hakuna inclusivity kwa Roots Party of Kenya. Mumeona tuko na Warasta, tuko na Waislamu, tuko na Wakristo, tuko na Wahindi na tuko na kila mtu, si ndio? In terms of inclusivity, Roots Party ndio number 1. Si ndio? Umewahi sikia mtu akitaja tribe ya Wajakoya? Tunasema mtu fulani ni Mjaluo, mtu fulani ni Mluya. Wajakoya is the only presidential candidate mwenye anawaleta wa Kenya pamoja, si ndio? Kuanzia dini, kuanzia mtu mgonjwa, watu wazuri na wabaya wote, yeye tu ndio ametuleta pamoja, ndio tukakuwa one person, si ndio? Lazima tuingishe Wajakoya. Freedom is coming. Asanteni.
Roots Party is the only party which has genuinely recognized young people in this country and given a chance to lead this country. Nataka niite viongozi wa Warasta. Yeah? Niko na viongozi wa Warasta hapa. They come and say a few words. Alafu ndio tuendelee, si ndio? Na Warasta wakijipanga, I want to call our SG, our Secretary General, to come and recognize a few members of our party. But before even I continue, I want to recognize Max, who is the PA. I want to recognize Brian and Edu, who is our communication director.
Thank you, Jemo. Kabla tuendelee na program, just a small recognition for a movement and an individual who has been supporting us throughout this journey. The Free Kenya movement, if you have heard, has been an integral part of the Roots Party, and they have supported us and are now willing to move forward with us on this journey towards the general election on the 9th of August. On that note, can I please request for 1 or 2 minutes
save on their incomes. Today, on average, every Kenyan spends 54% of their income on food. 54%. In fact, the poorer families are spending 60% of their income on food alone. And our statistics show that we spend 3 trillion shillings on food as a nation. Just imagine for a moment, if we saved just 10%, on food because we have improved our productivity. From 3 trillion, 10%, we would save 300 billion that would go somewhere else in our economy. So investing in agriculture has a bearing on what remains in your pocket. It's what remains in your pocket. Let me also say the following. Hunger is a big problem in Kenya. We have close to 2 million people who suffer hunger. Majority of them, for your information, are farmers. Majority of these 2 million people who are suffering hunger, it means they can't grow enough to eat. As Kenya Kwanza, we have worked out with our agroeconomists a package for these 2 million farmers. For us to give them inputs and make sure that they use the farm they are doing now and produce enough for them to eat and a surplus. We have a program for 5 years to invest 90 billion shillings. 30 billion shillings revolving fund and 12 billion shillings every year to support them on extension service and making sure they do the right thing. In 5 years, these 2 million farmers, once supported the way I have suggested, they will not only produce enough food for them to eat and get out of hunger, but they will generate a surplus. In total, they will create 500 billion shillings worth of product. From 90 billion. From 90 billion, they will create 500 billion. This is the 2 million our competitors want to put on handouts. Their handout program in 5 years will cost 720 billion with zero return. Our plan will cost 90 billion with 500 billion shillings return. That is the difference. Agriculture equally will stimulate our industrialization. All of you know that 50% of our entire manufacturing sector is agro-based. 40% is food and beverage, and another 10% other non-food agricultural manufacturing. So, increasing the productivity of our agricultural sector naturally influences our manufacturing and industrialization program. So, what are we going to do as Kenya Kwanza? We are going to provide adequate, affordable working capital to all our farmers, either through their farmer organization groups or cooperatives or other farmer organizations, so that we can capitalize our agricultural sector, because the single most important impediment to the productivity of our agricultural sector is capital. Number two, farmers told us across the country that they needed to guarantee their returns. Every farmer want to know that when they produce, there is a market, and that they will not get stuck with their products. So that is where we want to go, to provide GMR, a guaranteed minimum return mechanism that is built around insurance, so that every farmer will know that when they produce, there will be a market and they will not lose. We will transform, of course, our 2 million resource-poor farmers to produce food surplus. We will reduce our dependency on basic food imports, especially edible oil and rice. Those are our two targets. And we will invest in the underperforming products, coffee, coffee, cashew nut, and of course invest in the emerging crops, macadamia, avocado, and the area of flowers, and the area of flowers and vegetables. And we will also move up the value chain. Our tea, we only value add 5% of our tea. Our strategy is to move value addition of our tea to 50% in the next 3 years. The second sector, that's agriculture. The second sector we want to focus on is transforming our MSMEs. I have given you the statistics. The statistics is that we have close to 15 million people in that space. 10 million of them hardly make 100, 200, 300 shillings. Our intervention is threefold. Number one, we want to create business infrastructure for these people. There must be markets, there must be spaces, there must be areas where business can be done legitimately and decriminalize people's enterprises. Number two, there must be legislation to protect everybody's business. The details are in the manifesto. And number three, the single largest challenge the MSMEs face is that they pay interest on credit that none of you here can believe. Most of them pay 10% per day, which translates to 3,600 per year. Better ones pay 10% per month, which translates into 120% per year. And in so doing, their profits are eaten by just one item, credit. Our plan is to ensure through the Hustler Fund, and we have said we are going to commit 50 billion shillings every year to the Hustler Fund, so that the mamamboga and the boda kai and the fellow at the kiosk and the fellow at the saloon and the good lady running a saloon somewhere can find credit that is not predatory. And these are the numbers. If we increase, because that's the net effect. The net effect is that we will increase the earnings of these 10 million Kenyans by 200 shillings per day. That is 2 billion shillings a day. And that is 760 billion shillings a year. Any manufacturer who gets 1% of that market gets 7.6 billion shillings business. So when we say bottom up, it is not the same as bottom versus up. It is bottom up. Let me go to the third subject of housing. Housing, ladies and gentlemen, we are short of 2 million houses as we speak. And every year, the requirement is we build 250,000 houses. We are only building 50,000 houses every year. And of the 50,000 houses, only 2% are low-cost houses. The rest are out of reach to most Kenyans. The challenge is that that problem is a moving target. Every year, 500,000 Kenyans join or go into cities and towns. The rate of urbanization is 4.4%. At the rate of 4.4%, every year, 500,000 Kenyans find themselves in urban settlements. And we already have a shortage of houses. So as Kenya Kwanza, we looked at the challenge and we decided to turn it into an opportunity. We've turned it into an opportunity to do several things. Number one, of course, to create jobs. Number two, is to create affordable, low-cost houses. How are we going to do it? This is how we plan to do it. First, we need to face the challenge of land. The biggest cost that goes into housing is the cost of land. We decided that we are going to do public land, or we are going to get land that is not expensive, even if it is away from the city, and provide infrastructure to get people from where it is to the city. Number two, we are going to work with developers to structure low-cost financing. Today, many developers get loans at 14, 15, 20%. We want to structure a 3% to a maximum of 5% financing for low-cost housing. The third component is we want to engage modern technology of building. We do not have to use stones. We can employ new technologies that deliver for us cheaper houses. Number four, we have to standardize housing products, windows, doors, and all the other infrastructure. Today, everybody, each one of us is building a designer house because every house, the windows are different, the doors are different. So it's a designer house because it's all different. What we are going to do is we are going to standardize so that we can mass produce housing products. If we know that a one-bedroomed house, the size of the door will be like this, you can produce them en masse. The size of the window will be like this, you can produce them en masse. And our Juakali sector can produce these housing products en masse. That brings down the cost by almost 30%, just by eliminating the designer structures of every house. Of course, we all know designer suits are more expensive than all the other suits, and that's what we are doing. And finally, we have to structure an off-take plan, low cost, long-term mortgage. Let me tell you, my regret is that we didn't implement this housing plan that was in the Big Four, because our plan is to build 250 housing units every year, and our plan is to ensure that at least 50% of these houses are low-cost houses. We want to make it possible for a person who is paying 10,000 shillings today rent to still pay 10,000 for a two-bedroomed house, and in 15, 20 years, the house belongs to them because they are paying mortgage. It is possible to deliver a house of 1 million, maximum 2 million shillings, and therefore the mortgage can fit into the rent citizens are paying today. That way, we will create more property owners in our great country. Today, we have about 30,000 mortgages. It is our belief that we should get to 1 million mortgages in the next 5 years. The fifth item that I want to go to is manufacturing. Manufacturing is the place we are not doing well. In the last 5 years, manufacturing as a contribution of our GDP has gone down from 9% to 7%, 9.3% to 7%. That reverse is not healthy for our country. The challenge with our manufacturing is that it has always focused on capital-intensive investment rather than labor-intensive outcomes. We are focused on 5 areas in our manufacturing plan. Leather, let me begin there. It's a very sad story, let me tell you, on leather. Kenya has the 3rd largest herd in the continent of Africa, of cows. 3rd largest. Do you understand? We have close to 30 million livestock. We slaughter 3 million livestock every year. We can only use 10% of hides and skin, 10%. We were in Kajiado, we were in Wajir, and the citizens there were telling us, why are you allowing us to throw away our hides and skins? It's being eaten by dogs. Sometimes we have to bury it. Sometimes we have to dispose it. In fact, disposing it has become a challenge. Meanwhile, we are importing 20 million pairs of shoes every year made from leather products, made from skins and hides of other people's cows. We are burying our own leather. Other people, then we go to buy other people's. Today, the leather industry is 15 billion, right? Thereabout, 15 billion shilling industry. We can move it to 140 billion shilling industry. Today, the leather industry employs 10,000 in the formally and another 17,000. We can employ 120,000 Kenyans in the leather industry. I want you to listen to me carefully. I am not talking about us importing anything. We have the cows. We are slaughtering them anyway. The only problem is that we are not making use of the skin and hides. I don't want to say it's stupid. Yeah? I don't want to say that. But you see, that's where we are. So, what are we proposing as Kenya Kwanza? We're saying we will turn around the leather industry. We will invest. The reason why we took the SGR to Naivasha is because we thought we would use it to create a big industry out of the steam that is available readily there and out of the power that is readily available there. We will create a huge industry around the leather industry. Leather products, from shoes to bags to everything else that goes with leather, will be a big, and that does not require importing nothing. We have everything here. All we need to do is to leverage on technology and bring transfer of knowledge and skills, and we are good to go. Building products is another space that we have, especially if we are going to go to low-cost housing and implement our housing plan. The whole Juakali sector will be busy generating doors, generating windows, making sure that there are enough building material products in quarries and in all the other places. Pharmaceutical industry is another space. Our budget on health is 550 billion every year. Our expenditure, let me say, our total expenditure on health is 550 billion. 20% of that is pharmaceutical products and consumables. We are only producing 20%. It is possible for us to produce 100%. We have pharmaceutical companies here. Let me tell you the story. We have pharmaceutical companies here. They are producing at half the capacity. The reason why we are not exploiting that capacity creating more jobs in the capacity that they are using so that we can supply our own pharmaceutical products is a very big guess. Garment and textile industry. That is the other space that we have. The garment industry today, we export $500 million, which is about 50 billion of garments outside the country. When we signed into AGOA, we were supposed to produce the cotton to provide the yarn and the fabric for this export. As of today, 40%, not 40%, actually 40 billion of yarn and fabric is being imported from Asia to come and at the EPZ. I was in Kilifi last week, and the people working at the EPZ were asking me, Mr. Deputy President, we are producing garments here that we are exporting to America. We can also produce garments that can be consumed, that can be sold in Kenya. They have the technology. So that is a space we want to focus on, the whole cotton value chain, from growing of cotton, and I want to give you the good news, we are going to start growing big BT cotton in Kenya. Yes. It has higher yields, it is more drought resistant, the trials have been done, and the trials are very good. They are showing that we have very good productivity, and therefore, one more time, we will have our cotton industry up and running, and we can push that industry to another 100 billion shilling industry. I can say the same of edible oil. It's another value chain that can give us jobs. I can say the same of electric motorcycles and electric cars. That's another value chain we can develop here because we have the market for it here. We have a market of 200,000 border borders every year. That's a market we can supply from Kenya. Let me leave that there. We have huge space, good people, in manufacturing, and that is our focus. Number five, is the digital highway. We are saying it's time that we move into the digital space. That's where the whole world is going anyway. Most of our services are now on a digital platform. Very many investments are in that direction. What do we plan to do as Kenya Kwanza? We plan to do the following as Kenya Kwanza. Number one, we already have a 10,000 kilometer backbone, fiber optic backbone, that goes all the way to every sub-county. It already serves 60% of the population. Kenya Kwanza, we want to invest in what we called in electricity connection, the last mile. When we started the last mile on electricity in 2013, there were only 2.3 million connections. We now have 8.8 million connections to houses. What we will do with the internet and the digital highway is, in the next 5 years, we will extend the fiber by 100,000 kilometers. Let me repeat, so that you're clear. We will extend by 100,000 kilometers. How are we going to do it? We are going to extend it on the electricity grid backbone that already exists. Every home every shopping center, every school, every dispensary, every hospital that is connected to the grid will be connected to the internet. And in 5 years, we will close the digital gap, and every Kenyan will have access to the internet. The many young people who today are struggling with bundles, the many young people who want to do their thing on the internet, or to make calls, or to communicate, they will have an opportunity to do so with ease from the comfort of their homes or at the shopping center, because we already have 24,000 markets connected to electricity, and those 24,000 markets will be connected to the internet. That will be the biggest revolution ever. We have the opportunity to create close to 5,000 new SMEs. We have the opportunity to leverage on government delivery of government services. And we have the opportunity for online shopping and many other things that come with access to internet. And for your information, there is money to do it. We already have 15 billion shillings in the Universal Fund. So if we securitize the Universal, this whole program will cost about 40 billion. So if you have 15 billion, you can deliver the rest. It's as simple as that. There was a proposal by the Communication Authority to use the 15 billion to build a hotel. So I think deploying the last mile of the internet is more like it, because that is the core function of the Communication Authority. I have said, and let me repeat, every school that's on the grid, every hospital, every dispensary, every market that's on the grid will be connected. And the creative potential of our young people, the creative industry will now have the very perfect chance to be able to do their thing. The seventh space is the service economy. We believe as Kenya Kwanza that the service economy is a key factor in employment, expanding our tax base, expanding our tax revenues, and ensuring that we have foreign exchange. In that financial sector, we want to leverage on our SACCOs and cooperatives to deliver financial products, and especially credit, affordable credit, to the bottom of the pyramid. On top of the Hustler Fund, we're going to develop other packages that will make it possible for us to deliver financial products that create access to credit to the majority of people who do not have credit at the bottom of the pyramid. That way, we will expand their enterprises, and that way we will also make sure that they participate in job creation and in expanding our tax base. Under services, we also have tourism. tourism, we are stuck at 2 million visitors for a very long time. We have to decide whether we want the sector to work for the few or to create jobs for the many. We just have to, if we continue, we have to diversify our tourism product. It cannot continue to be beach and wildlife. We have to do adventure. We have to do culture. We have to do many other areas. And we have to create the infrastructure for young people. We have to create infrastructure that is affordable, low-cost hotels, bed and breakfast facilities. We have to budget hotels. We cannot continue to sell the high-end products because it just satisfies a few people. In fact, we are so stuck there that today you have so many exclusive facilities. Some of the facilities you pay 500,000 shillings a night. How many people will pay 500,000 shillings a night? Good people. How are we going to grow our numbers? Thailand. Let me give you an example. Thailand, a country like, just like Kenya, our size, slightly more people, 70 million people, 50 something million in Kenya. So we are almost the same. But they do 40 million tourists every year because they have created so many niches and they have made it possible for so many people to travel. We can choose to continue our tourism to be high-end, and we will be stuck at 2 million. But if we took it to 20 million, we will have more people working in hotels. We will have more people helping with the transport. We will have. So, in fact, tourism is the ultimate trickle-down model that is causing a problem in our country. We just have to turn it the other way around. It cannot continue to be the way it is. It doesn't matter what you get out of 2 million people. It's not the same as if we had 10 million people coming to Kenya. If we had 10 million people coming to Kenya, as a factor, they say for every tourist employs 3 people. So the numbers will add up. So we just have to change the model and do a better package. I know players in the industry sector may have issues with that, but I think it's time. I think it's time. Finally, let me talk about aviation. And I'm going to single out the sugar industry because that's where we have a huge crisis. But let me talk about aviation. Africa has 15% of the population of the world, but we have only 2% of air traffic, meaning that there is potential, there is huge potential for us in the air travel space. Kenya Airways was doing well up to a certain point. And I dare say that the problem with Kenya Airways and the financial challenges therein are a reflection of internal and managerial mistakes rather than market prospects. It is not the market. It cannot be the market. There is a problem with management, and there is a problem with conflict of interest, and there is a problem that we all know. Being a national asset And being a strategic asset, Kenya Airways is not an asset we would want to let go at all. And therefore, it cannot also continue to be on life support forever. We have to agree. So our commitment as Kenya Kwanza is that we are going to develop a turnaround strategy for Kenya Airways within 2 years and bring it back to what it is supposed to do, and it is possible. Our sugar industry, and I was in Mumias the other day, has suffered the brand of underinvestment. We have committed as Kenya Kwanza that aside from writing off all the debts that are owed by government, we are also going to negotiate all the other debts owed to banks and other individuals with a view of paying them off so that we can make the factories in Mumias, in Zoya, and all the other government-owned factories free of debt. And then we can then inject new capital and ensure that we have modern facilities that will be able to deliver to our sugarcane farmers the same way the private mills are doing. It cannot be that all the private mills are doing well and all the government mills are making losses. It's not possible. There must be a structural problem. Let me also talk about sports, because it's an important sector for us. We are a great sporting nation, and we need to leverage our sports to do at least 3 things. Number 1, to project our country and profile our country in a manner that we can leverage on the other sectors of the economy, number 1. Number 2, we must create a big sports garment industry out of Kenya, out of our sportsmen and women. Because everywhere in the world, if you said this shoe comes from Kenya, the sporting nation, you will get a premium price for it. And of course, we must make sure that the fund that we set up to deal with matters of sports infrastructure, which currently is being used to do other things, we have to ring-fence that money. We collected, I think, 15 billion, but it was used to build hospitals instead of used to build sports infrastructure. All the resources coming from the fund must go to developing sports infrastructure. As I conclude, I want to talk about environment and climate change. We commit as Kenya Kwanza to grow 5 million acres of trees under agroforestry. We also commit to build industry out of solid waste. And we are going to begin with Sakaja in Nairobi. We're going to begin with Sakaja in Nairobi. Solid waste.
It speaks volumes. So ndampatia 1 minute atuongeleshe kama vijana Roots Party na Kenya mzima wajue hii chama iko na watu machua. Karibu mama.
Ingiza mti.
God is good all the time. Ulisa mwenzako uko na kura. au ni kujaza rumu na kucheza dance? Wajakayo oe! Wajakayo oe! Kila nyumba iko na mama, iko na nini? Na ladha. Nani anaangalia chakula kama iko shubi? Tuko na mama. Jasinira oe! Oe! Mi kile ningetaka kusema ni kushukuru Ruth Pate na honorable wetu Profesa Wajakayo. Degree 716 ni mchezo. Ni mchezo. Tumesoma kwa historia, kwa media, amesoma, ni kweli. Amefanya kazi gumu, hakina kazi gumu kwa binadamu, ni ukweli. Amuka asubuhi, elekea na njia, ambia Mungu yako, leo natoka kwa nyumba, nataka kufanya hivi, nataka kufanya hivi, nataka kwenda shule. Kukiwa kama umeenda shule, masaa ile uko free, enda ukafanye kazi. Ni kweli. Nashukuru.
Thanks,
Ma'am. Nimeshukuru mheshimiwa wetu. Niko nyuma yake.
Asante.
This is my daughter. I'm behind you.
Asante, mama. Thank you. Thank you so much. Unajua, today is our day. We are here to demystify Roots Party. Si ndio? Watu wanapenda kusema mambo mingi. Mengi yameandikwa kwa magazeti. Ati sisi ni project. In fact, sasa inaweza sema enye gazeti ende ifunge nyama. Ukweli uongo? Mimi nataka kuuliza prof nikiwa hapa. Prof, umeona vile Wakenya wanatupenda? Wanatupenda bure. Bure, prof. Kweli sisi venye mnatupenda tunaweza asaliti? Hapana, we cannot. Tuko na nyinyi mpaka mwisho. I want to assure you that as Justina Wamai. Mimi yani hata leo tumeimba national anthem. Karibu nilie. Unaona venye tulisema Kenya istahili heshima. Mio vasi imeniguza nikaona ukweli inastahili heshima. Lakini tunakosa heshima kwa nini? Hatuna pesa, mikopo huku na pale, tunataka donor funding na tuko na shamba zetu. Mbona tusiekelee industrial hemp? Ama namna gani? So hivyo mimi nasikia tu mkiona nikilia mjue tu ni furaha. Lakini kwa unyenyekevu kabisa. Hizo vitu ndio zinafanya mtu asikie uchungu kwa Mkenya. But mimi ningewaomba kwa unyenyekevu. Unajua pia Rastaman na watu wa Roots tunaambiwa we are jokers. Mimi ningewaomba tu mniruhusu nisome tu hii speech. Juu niliandika from my heart na mniruhusu niongee kwa Kizungu. So that we can prove to Kenyans that one, tuko na agenda. Kweli uongo? Tuko na agenda. Kweli uongo? Na tuko na future. Kweli uongo? So let me read this speech kwa sababu hii niliandika tu from my heart. Na tuta maintain, Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, all protocols observed. My name is Justina Wangui Wamai, the presidential running mate to Professor George Lunchiri Wajakoya. As a Kenyan, I have first-hand experience on how hard and tough it is to be a Kenyan. This opportunity is simply humbling to me, given that back in 1997, I was 10 years old, being brought up in Kibera, which was in Langata constituency then, and being in the same ballot paper 25 years later with my MP then. And most of the people who we are competing with have been in politics directly or indirectly. Guys, I'm humbled. And this speaks to wale watu wako nyumbani, children who are watching us, because I know as it is, wazazi wanaforce watu waone news. My parents used to do that. So I'm sure there are young kids at home wanaona hii by default, mzazi is watching. It is clear that wanasema your dreams are valid. Do not be scared to dream. Kweli uongo? Haya, niendelee nisema. Today, I'm delighted as a woman and a youth to be on the decision-making table. This Roots Party ticket seeks to convert youth and women into frontline agents in the development agenda of Kenya. And to this end, Roots Party is cognizant that the presidency has two aspects. The hard aspects, which is legislations and regulations, but the soft aspects, which speaks to the minds and hearts of Kenyans. Roots Party has listened to the minds and hearts of Kenyans. And we are saying it is not right that 5.5 million youths are unemployed. 1.2 million Kenyans living above the poverty line of 220 shillings daily. High cost of living occasioned by increased taxes. High debt, which is approximately 10 trillion, meaning a child conceived today owes 189,000 Kenya shillings. Huyu ameconceiviwa. Human rights issues, because when I say Kenya istahili heshima, some people who are victims of the 1998 bombings were never compensated, but others were. What is the role of our government? To protect its people. Kenyans are stuck in the Middle East. Women, men, seeking greener pastures. How is the government protecting them? In this backdrop, Roots Party is the solutions to Kenya. Roots Party seeks to uphold the respect of Kenyans by first paying off our debt quickly as soon as possible. Shun donor support and instill confidence in our people that grass is greener in Kenya. Join us, let us water our grass in Kenya. As I stand here, I seek to speak to both men, women, and the youth. This demography requires us to amplify their voice. And the most important thing, tuliambiwa si pesa mfukoni, ni pesa mkononi. How are we going to achieve this as Roots Party? Number one, we want to legalize and regulate marijuana in this country. Marijuana is used across 9 sectors, producing over 25,000 products. The sectors are food and beverage, automobile fiber, construction and insulation, plastic and paper, furniture, textiles, cosmetics, lubricants, and medicine. All this we import. Kweli uongo? Yet we have people here, our own labor, who can do it. Many people at home might be asking, why did Roots Party focus on industrial hemp or marijuana? You know, someone was telling me you can do potatoes. I mean, the results are the same. But we have gone into research. Mulisikia daktari Ogot hapa. Unaona uni mtu amesoma. Let us respect watu ambao wamesoma. And also let us learn to appreciate our own knowledge producers. You know, most of the time tunasoma maneno za wengine. We consume knowledge. But we are focusing on Kenyan knowledge producers like Dr. Ogot. Why industrial hemp? Ukiangalia global prices. Maize, 90 kg is 3,000. Sugarcane, the government is buying at 4,112 per ton. Coffee, kwa gate, is 23 shillings per kg. That is coffee and tea at the gate. But the market price for industrial hemp is 159,000 per kg. Our role as Roots Party is to run a profitable government. A government that does not seek to tax people, its people, or a government that doesn't need to borrow debt to run its projects. Exactly. So how are we going to create employment for the women and youth? Number one, the youth, women, men will be farmers by default. Exactly. Si mnaelewa hivyo? Number two, there's a question on how we are going to control the CBD marijuana that tuliambiwa na Dr. Ogot na hii ingine ya THC ile ya kulevya. We are going to reintroduce agricultural officers who will be inspecting land like what they used to do with coffee. Finally, Professor has been saying that expressway yote itakuwa na bangi. And someone kweli mtu akaniuliza, haya sasa jubangi itakuwa a commodity, itakuwa valuable. How are we going to protect? Tunasikia avocado zinaibiwa. Si tukasema we are going to recall all NYS youth who graduated na hawana kazi. Si walifundishwa? That is creating employment by default. Not forgetting the industries in the 9 sectors producing over 25,000 products. Kwa hivyo already youth are consulted, mwenye anataka kazi. But kuna the other type of youth and woman and man, mwenye anasema I can be an investor. When you go to the bank, they ask you for security as collateral. Ukweli? Tuko hata na gari, si tunatembea? Hata boda tuna ukweli. Ukitishwa logbook, do you have it? Ama mko nazo? Mimi naongea vitu ziko. Ndio tukasema we will avail, because when we're in government, land belongs to the government. 200,000 acres zitatengewa. We have a project like the early one where we pick the best 50,000 youths in cohorts. Cohort moja inaenda 4 months. 4 months, huyo youth anapata 4 acres out of the 200,000 acres ya serikali. Huyo youth anapanda marijuana yake ama industrial hemp. After 4 months imemea, anaiuza. The proceeds inakuwa investment. Na tukifanya calculations ya what China got last year and what this youth will get, we are committing that youth, one individual youth, will have 2.8 million as capital for their project. Let me say this, looking into the future, sustainability aspects. In 50 years, Nairobi will not be habitable because of climate change and global warming. But tukiekelea industrial hemp, it acts as crop cover, cover our soil. Kwa hivyo atakule arid and semi-arid areas. With time, that land will be habitable, it will be arable for farming. Hata Nairobi kikuwa moto ama watu wajae, when Professor tells you that we will go to Isiolo, does it now make sense? It does. So let me say this, as we unveil our manifesto, this is the real change. This is the real financial independence. And I put to you Kenyans that we are ready for change. And I'll leave you with a quote. Unajua lazima tuchangamshe bongo, eh? A guy called Ralph Waldo alisema, among the map makers of each generation are risk takers, those who see opportunities, seize the moment, and expand man's vision of the future. We as Roots Party are the risk takers, and we are seeking your mandate to expand Kenya's vision of the future. God bless you.
Tingiza mti. Tingiza mti.
Sasa ile wakati mmechangamka? Hapana, mimi nataka tear gas. Kuna ngoma mimi napenda. Hebu simameni ndio the fifth akikuja hapa. Tear gas. Unajua umefanya tear gas. Unajua umefanya remix ile ya Wajakoya. Ndio kila Mkenya wenye ako hapa ama nyumbani ajiulize Wajakoya atafanya nini, na msikize what Wajakoya will do for you. Tear gas.
Haya, nishawafunza hiyo ngoma, si ndio? In a 1, 2, 3, let's go. Mikono ya Roots Party jiwe!
Run brother rat, brother push after you. Run brother rat. Hey! Run brother rat, brother dog after you.
Alright. Tell me what you really gonna do.
What you gonna do? The cat chased the mouse, while the dog raised the cat.
Are you ready for Professor Wachokoya?
The vultures are waiting to see the great slaughter, so that they can fly down and clean up after. While big guys sit up
over yonder, unamnyoshea kidole tumkaribishe the 5th president of Kenya, Professor George Luchiri. Anaitwa nane? Wacha wachigana. Anaitwa nani? Wacha wachigana ne. Anaitwa nani? Wajakoya. Presidente anaitwa nani? Wacha wachigana nina. President anaitwa nani? The people's president. Anane. Hey, come on, everybody.
Haya. Oya. Excuse me. Tukaeni chini kidogo. Tusikize rais wetu, si ndio? Just a minute, bro. Kidogo tu. Kaeni chini ndio tusikie Kenya Wajakoya anatuambia. Situtulie chini kidogo. Sawa? Asante. Guys. Just sit down. Ndio tuweze kuendelea. I want to call, excuse me. Nataka niite our deputy president Justina Wamai. Sasa tuitie rais. Rais atusomee manifesto, atuambie manifesto iko namna gani, si ndio?
Mumeshindwa hata kukaa chini, mmebambika. Mtasikiza kama mmesimama. Aina ile, hii ni Roots Party. Professor Wajakoya, it is my humble duty as your deputy to ask you this question on behalf of Kenyans. Wajakoya, what you gonna do for your people? Karibu Prof.
Thank you very much, my deputy president, Justina Wangoi, Wamai. I also take this opportunity to thank your lovely husband for allowing you and for giving you this freedom to come and build your country, to come and develop your country, to come and look at what is necessary for young women like yourself or in your age brackets so that they can have hope, that they can move forward, and they can be emancipated from mental slavery. I thank you very much. Secondly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, here. And I'd also like to thank the chairman of Roots Party, Mr. Musheru. I'd also like to thank the Meru group, the group that came from Meru, led by Mr. Yagnik. Please just raise and say. I'd also like to thank the group led by my friend Bilal, wherever you are. I take this opportunity to thank the reggae community, particularly the leaders of the reggae community. And before I give my speech, my short speech before we go to our 10 commandments, I would like to assure the reggae people that while I was practicing as a lawyer in the United Kingdom, before I moved to the United States, we had a case, and that case was a Rastafarian case which was taken to the courts by a Rastafarian movement who wanted recognition as ethnic minorities and recognition as their religion, as a religion of emancipation from mental slavery. When that case was taken over to the House of Lords, the House of Lords decided in the other way around, and they said that Rastas were not old enough. They have never been there for 60 years, and therefore they were not qualified to be known as a religion. That in itself led to a lot of outcry in the United Kingdom, and that's why this issue of the Race Relations Act 1991 came about. I am with you. I'm a Rastafarian. My son, who plays football in UK, is a Rastafarian, is an engineer, and my household compelled me to go to Jamaica to buy a piece of land in Montego Bay, where I build a house for my children, meaning that wherever you are, if you look at the statistics of people who are in jail, the Rastafarian community, I would say, and I would like to thank you, as very, very few. I don't think whether there are over 10, apart from those who have been enlisted, arrested, harassed, taken in jail for possessing a source or a stamp of marijuana, which informs me that the man who was arrested recently in Nyeri, that graduate from Egerton, from Moy University, who was only doing a deserving purpose to disengage from criminal activity, to engage himself from an economic activity, to have himself, because of unemployment, to heal himself through the herb. That man was arrested, and I saw it on television. I felt so bad the way the police officers were treating him like a criminal. I, having been a police officer myself before, could not treat somebody like that. That was an inhuman and barbaric kind of degrading situation. I also look at the people who are arrested with the 2 sacks of marijuana in northeastern province. Anyone who is actually arrested with marijuana, the police are fond of calling the media. I would like to take this opportunity to tell our media, the fourth estate, that whereas it's your duty to disseminate information, sometimes just be nationalistic and say, no, instead of taking so many pictures of this poor thing seated on the soil, being asked very relevant, stupid, and archaic questions, instead of being taken to the courts for the lawyers to do their job. The police now become the judges, the police now become the doctors, they become psychiatric experts to start harassing a young man sitting on the ground, asking very stupid questions. And I can assure you that if such cases were in the UK or US, after you have been given your rights to remain silent, there's no any other word that ought to be uttered. But the police in Kenya are misusing their legal authority, and that's why they need to be informed by harassing people, calling in the media before proving somebody's innocence, and putting the whole family out there as a family of barrack. And that's why we are going to release. We're going to release all of them. We are going to decriminalize it the way the United States and the federal government in the US has decriminalized marijuana for purposes of economic growth. I also take this opportunity also to thank the Somali community and our representative from Northeastern for having been very much robust. What he didn't tell you is that members of the Somali community are punished twice in this country. They are punished twice because, one, because they are Somalis, and secondly, whenever they go to take their identity card, they have to prove 4 times of being Kenyans than their fellow Kenyans in the other parts of the world. That is going to end. That is going to end. And I can assure members of the Somali community that you are going nowhere. You are going to live in this country, and we are going to reward you by moving our capital city from here to Isiolo, so that you can also know that issues of loyalty to the system, issues of following political leaders on political correctness, issues of clanism, issues of tribalism has to end henceforth. The world is hemp country. We are now producing and introducing a new tribe in Kenya known as the hemp tribe, where everyone will be proud of himself, everyone will be looking at each other, and they will be saying, we in Kenyans, we are bound together by peaceful solution through the hemp because it heals us, it brings us from mental slavery, and it also makes us strong in terms of economic earnings so that we become #1 economic earners in the world, since we are the first country in the world to produce the most powerful president on earth, Barack Obama. And ladies and gentlemen, before I go ahead, we have received a lot of criticism from members of the clergy. It's my humble opportunity to appeal to them to read our manifesto first. let them read our manifesto first. We don't have any problems with the clergy. We don't have any problems with the religion. We actually guarantee freedom of expression. But please do not abuse that by being very selective. Instead of praying for our souls, don't condemn. If you know that we have said something wrong, call us and say, please, can we have some kind of dialogue so that we can discuss this thing, so that we can have a common understanding. But you have no right to condemn what you're supposed to heal, to condemn the souls that you're supposed to pray for. Then if you're condemning this soul, then when we die, who will actually go to heaven? Do you condemn us? Or do you emancipate us from condemnation? Do you contaminate us? Or do you emancipate us from condemnation? Do you abuse us? Or do you heal us from the abuse? What image are you trying to portray? What image are you trying to portray as a man of God? Not all men of God are bad. Neither are we all bad. But when there is a problem, let us discuss it and have dialogue. And I can assure you that even if you go to Rome today, you go to Mecca today, you'll find out that religious purity is within the books of God. And to those that think that I've offended them, I'm willing to tell God today to forgive me so that we can have dialogue. But God, do not forgive me if you know that I was right. I'm asking you, God, not forgive me if you know that I was right. But if I was wrong, forgive me personally, not through another individual. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start our 10 commandments or our manifesto, let me also appeal to you that we have many, many Kenyans in the diaspora. We have millions of Kenyans, or we have millions of shillings and pounds and dollars sent in by our fellow Kenyans who are in the diaspora, and nobody's thinking about them. Nobody's thinking about how to put up structures like what Malaysia has done, like what Philippines have done, so that we can actually be accountable to what we bring in and be proud of being Kenyans. We have so many Kenyans in the diaspora who are who have contributed a lot in the diaspora. And when I say Kenyans, I'm talking of Kenyans of indigenous origin and Kenyans of Asian origin. Kenyans of indigenous origin and Kenyans of Asian origin who have gone out there and they have done so well in their migration theory, and they have made the world feel so good by contributing what they have in terms of brain drain. We now need brain gain. We need to gain from what they have been drained to bring that back home, and let us actually be the first government on earth, the first government in Africa, and the first government in Kenya to recognize the values of the Kenyans in the diaspora, having myself stayed there for many years, where I had to be a mortuary attendant, where I had to clean the old people in old people's homes, where I had to be a grave digger, where I had to clean them red buses in UK, where I had to go through the colds. But I had only one agenda, to come back home and bring what I earned through hard work, through sweat, back in this country. And when I came in this country, I can assure you for free, ladies and gentlemen, and those who are here, those who are coming in to label us, those who are using my name on social media to purport to be myself, writing things that are not right, I forgive them today, because they do not know what they are doing. Politics of this kind are very destructive politics. We have had our Excellency, His Excellency the President. We also have had His Excellency the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We also have had the Deputy President, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, as people who have been, and I respect them, and I'll continue respecting them for the role they have played. I am not here to point at them because they are my colleagues. But one thing I have to say today is that let us have a common ground whereby we don't initiate that in our campaign by coming up with bloggers who purport to be us. What actually are we fighting for in this country? Are we not fighting for economic emancipation and economic freedoms so that we can stand to be counted as men of integrity? Or are we fighting to dirten each other's names? Are we fighting here to point fingers at others? If you find us pointing a finger at any other presidential candidate without actually mentioning the wrongs that are being done to the people, then just ignore. Similarly, if you find some people writing things about us people who are writing things about us, saying that we need to be taken here and there, just ignore. They are seeking some kind of, audacity to be heard. We are not answering them. Don't answer them. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, may I again laud the young men and women who have come in today, who have sacrificed. Young men and women who have come in this place without asking for money. Young men and women who have come here today to sacrifice for their future. Young men and women who are sitting in this podium, who have come from Madare, who have come from Kangemi, who have come from Kibera and Kayole, on barefoot, without being given money, without being bussed in here, without having our men and women singing and dancing before others after the few coins that they have been paid. I can freely tell you that what I've seen here today should be what you should be doing every day. What I've seen here today should continue after the 9th of August. When we take over the government, we are going to inherit a very, very huge debt. Don't you dare be told, and let truth be told today. Some people are saying that in the first 100 days, they are going to do this, they are going to do that. As we are inheriting problems, we are inheriting deficit, we are inheriting financial disaster. The issue of happiness should not be there. Let us rejoin ourselves. Let's look into ourselves. Let's look at ourselves in the mirrors. What kind of government are we inheriting? We are inheriting a bankrupt economy. And for the first 100 days, not 100 days, 500 days, or let me say 6 months, or let me say probably 1 year, we are going to have to work very hard. It will be a period of tears. It will be a period of not ululation, not harmony, but a period of disaster. Because we shall be like, now, where do we go from here? Do we continue borrowing, or do we sacrifice to have what we have? I'm going to sacrifice my gold, the one that my daughter bought me when she passed her exam. I'll sacrifice this. We'll put it somewhere and melt it to cure the disasters of this country for the first 1 year as we grow hemp. We are also going to look at judiciary. We are also going to look at the judiciary and we shall ask ourselves, why were these laws made and who made this law and for what purpose? Were these laws made to injure and punish the poor, to have them last in poverty? Or were these laws made for the rich people? Or to punish young people who have no employment, who have nowhere to go? When they see something like marijuana, to actually treat their emotions, they are arrested and beaten and thrown in jail? Is that what we want with the judiciary? Or do we want to have a new mechanism of judiciary so that people can participate in that judiciary to have proper judicial outcome? Or do we have to have this archaic law from Britain? These punitive laws that were brought in by the colonial masters. And we are told, this is the law, you have to follow it. Whose law is it? We have to introduce what we call subaltern laws, laws of the people. And the only way we can introduce laws of the people is to suspend the Constitution, to suspend part of that Constitution, to suspend the Constitution. When I say suspend the Constitution, the first people to attack me are those people in suits and ties, people who purport to have gone to school, people who purport to know that law is made to be a law. Tunafuata sheria, tunafuata sheria. Hiyo sheria mkifuata namna hivyo, tunaungua. Ukienda nchi zingine watu wamesema pana, let us have alternative dispute mechanism. Ili mtu akiiba kuku ya mtu, tujue ni kwa nini aliiba hiyo kuku ya mtu. Aliiba hiyo kuku ya mtu akiwa na njaa, ndiye achinjie watoto wake wakule to survive. Survival for this. Ama unashikwa na polisi, huwezi kuulizwa kwa nini umeiba. Can we call the owner of the chicken and ask him, look in my eyes. If you are angry like this man, and your children were sleeping hungry, and maybe he has a wife who has given birth and there's nothing the wife can eat to maintain the child, and maybe he was afraid that if he asked you, you'll chase him away, would you really do this kind of thing? Therefore, we need reconciliation at all levels. We need reconciliation at all levels. We need to talk to each other. We need laws that harmonize relationships between people or the hemp tribe. We don't need now to call the police and the chief. Something like Changa. A child came to my home recently, a little boy, and he said, "Dad, I want you to listen to me." And then I said, "What is it?" He said, "I've passed my exam. My mom brews Changa. I can't go to school because the Changa that was brewed yesterday to be taken to Marach Estate in Busia, the chief came and threw it away. Therefore, I have no money to go to school." What would you do to such a kind of a child? Ladies and gentlemen, what will you do to such kind of child? What will you do to that chief who comes to pour that drink to deny this boy or this girl a chance? Answer me. Answer me. What will you do if you go home and you find that something very petty has led to someone being arrested and denied his life? What I did is I said, "Son, I'll take you to school. And my PA is here. Wambua, stand up. That's the guy who does everything that I do." I told him, "Find out where the school is." Of course, it was just next to me. "And get fee for that kid to be paid for a year." On top of that, we also gave a stipend. And as I speak, there is also a young Maasai man in this room. Where's Nchoko? That young man, I met him when he was in Stare Boys. His socks were torn. It was at YWCA. And he came to me, and he's like, "I am an orphan. That's why I'm in Stare." But I always thought that Stare Boys was for the best. I didn't know that it was for the orphans. Then I realized that his socks was torn. And I said, "Haven't they given you school you were?" He said, "No." The rest is up to him. He has already graduated with Bachelor of Commerce from Mount Kenya University, courtesy of our office. But then do we need to tell the world with whatever little that we do? Do we need to brag that we have done this and this and that? That's why we go wrong with the political entities in this country. They do something small, they want cameras to follow them so that they are seen to be doing what they have to do. Now, before I continue, let's now look at that, our manifesto. I will start by saying, number one, I don't know whether you can hear me. If you have access, or if your eyes have access to the shutters on the ground and on the top of the room, our manifesto number one says we shall legalize weed. But I would like Dr. Gwada to come and stand near me, because that man is a blueprint of information that this country has refused to follow. This man has of recent advised a president in the neighboring country to start marijuana, and he has started it, though I will not name the president. Professor, if I go wrong, just pardon me and take over. But because of time, I'll go very fast. Number one, 1 acre of bangi can earn you $78,000 or 8 million per harvest. Per harvest. A harvest takes only 6 months. Now, if you have to harvest, that is 16 months, you earn 16 million. Of course, it will come with the tax implications so that you can raise money and revenue for the government to continue with what it ought to do. The whole of Nyeri county is 583,000 acres. This means that if we grew bank in Nyeri County, Nyeri residents will earn 45 billion US dollars or 4.6 trillion per harvest. Kenya today owes China, or the debt we have today is $10 trillion. Mengine unaweza kujijazia. What happened? Is that where where's number one? Where's number one? I thought we started with number one. Yes. And because Banki is harvested twice a year, it means Nyeri residents will earn $92 billion or 9.2 trillion every year. This means if we grew bang for export, Nyeri is in 1 year, will earn the equivalent of Ethiopia's GDP.
Tingiza mti.
If we grew bang in Nyeri alone, as you see, each Kenyan could get a dividend check. In Nyeri, each Kenyan would get a dividend check of 200,000 Kenya shillings every year from the sale of bangi. That's Nyeri only.
Tingiza mti.
That means that we shall be very happy with that amount just from one county. Semeni haleluya. Kila mtu atakuwa anafanya nini? Ana pesa yake.
Tingiza mti.
Utakuwa na bodaboda ya nini? Utauza miraa. Si miraa ikitoka una export tu na huko na pesa ingine extra. Utakaa kwako ama utakaa kwako? Utajenga nyumba ya mabati ama ya tiles? Tuendelee. If we grew bangi in Nyeri alone, we would build 3 expressways in each county in Kenya. 2 express in each county in Kenya. If we grew bangi in Nyeri alone, Kenya could buy Bill Gates and Microsoft in just 2 years.
Tingiza mti.
Canada, last year alone, of 75,000 acres, harvested $486 billion US. And you see all the drones you see flying here and there, they are made up of fiber, which is from hemp. If you look at Canada, this year, they manufactured the first plane made out of hemp, a product of marijuana. Now, if that plane was to land in Kenya today to pick up passengers because of international law, has Kenya got any jurisdiction to go and inspect the fabric of that plane? Let us stop joking. Let us stop being given unfair promises that cannot be fulfilled. We have the solution.
Tingiza mti.
And please let me finish. You know, I went to school slowly. I was not metric. There was a point that was down there. But let's continue. Yes. If we grew bank in Nyeri alone, Kenya will have 10% of IMF total cash reserves. In short, we'll never have to borrow a single coin in future.
Tingiza mti.
And Kenya will become the richest country in the world. Mount Kenya was made wealthy by 2 cash crops, coffee and tea. In fact, Kikuyus got their economic head start in 1923 when they were allowed to grow coffee and tea. Before 1923, it was illegal for any indigenous Kenyan to grow both crops. Banki is our next cash crop. It grows widely in Mount Kenya. Question is, if we required the permission of Muzungus, who have now legalized bangi, why should we legalize?
Tingiza mti.
We have punitive laws. We have punitive laws which were imposed on Kenyan parliament through foreign aid, NACADA. Na wakati wametengeneza hiyo sheria, because wameambiwa msipotengeneza hii sheria tutawapatia mkopo, unaona wengine wanaenda kucheza hapo akisema, I've now made the rule, I've now made the rule. I wish there was a mimic here. Wanaenda kurejuvenate, putting our men and women in jail for things that are not proper. Having punitive regulations in this country that are putting our country outside the circles of morality. That's why we should have morality and solidarity. Repeat after me, morality and solidarity. That is Roots Party for you. But for the others, and repeat after me, is morality and is solidarity and immorality. solidarity and immorality. That's what you see, and that's how I define our opponents. Because they are in solidarity with immorality. They're telling us lies, package of lies, package of lies. They're not telling us how. We are telling you how. And that is the truth. It takes a man like Daktari here, who, first of all, started this crusade, went to the Senate twice, was thrown out because the pharmaceutical companies that I'm opposed to, who make medicines, have got what we call the lobbying skills. When they hear that Kenya wants to legalize bangi, they will call in the ministers concerned. Can you come for a talk in Britain? Whatever money is they are given, probably, and we know, and have figures, and trust me, I'll trash some of these opponents when they bring, yeah, you get them with bank accounts in Singapore. In Singapore, and I know who has money in Singapore and Dubai. In Singapore, so long as you can pay taxes on monies that you take there, that becomes legal. The wash that we know, the monies are taken to Singapore, they pay 15%, and then they bring it through Dubai to this country. Some of those opponents, let me tell you this, because I have the information, have staffed companies in Dubai to wash money. When the time for hanging comes, I will hang those ones when the laws are there.
Tingiza mti.
Tunataka kila mtu atuambie, including myself, ni pesa ngapi uko nayo? Hizi nyumba unaishi ulitoa wapi? Hii magari uko nayo umetoa wapi? Hii watoto wako kila wakati wakiwa wagonjwa naenda ng'ambo unapelekanga namna gani? Hii uongo unatudanganya kila siku unatudanganya kwa nini? It's up to you guys to ask. It's my humble opportunity to exercise. It's my humble opportunity to exercise your right to vote. To guard that vote, as Mr. Kanye has said. Mr. Kanye that you saw there is a world scientist. He has worked for NASA in the US. He's a statistician, very humble man, and probably that's why Justina chose him. Because if you look at Justina, umeona kama amechoka kwa uso? Umeona kama amechapa? So huyo mnaweza kumwamini na wasichana wenu. That's why alichukua kwa kamjamaa. Nafikiria hiyo ni mambo tutaongea baadaye. Number 2, snakes. Snakes. The Bible says that a snake, which they call a serpent, was a very brave animal. Inaendelea kusema kwamba hiyo ndiyo ilidanganya Adam, Eve. Na hiyo ni story zao, hataki kwenda in between, because kunasemekana kwamba kulikuwa na matunda ilikuliwa huko. Na watu wengine wakakasirika, ndio kwa maana watu wakaanza kujiona uti. Like the kind of snake I'm talking about, ni ile snake yenyewe, original. Hata mimi, nikiwaonyesha hivi journalists, hii yote ni majeraha ya python, when I was a young boy. How it really squeezed me to swallow me. To swallow me. When I was young. Thank God I'm still alive. So I know the dangers of the snake. But the good part of it, the good part of that snake I'm talking about, is that it's carrying something in it. It is carrying something in it that is very productive, that will give us $1 billion US dollars per year. Na mimi nataka watu wachanuke tafadhali. Tumezoea ile lugha ambayo tunafundishwa kila siku for the last 50 years. Tukiambiwa kitu kama hiyo wengine wanakimbia, na wale bloggers wa ule mwingine. Wale bloggers wa ule mwingine ambao mmechukua jina yangu kuongea on my behalf. Endeleeni tu, lakini your lies will soon be disapproved on the 9th when I take over as the president of this country.
Tingiza mti.
Wengine wanajiita ati profesa Wajakoya kwa Facebook. Ile kizungu wanaandika haki ya Mungu kisoma, unajijazia. We will rear snakes. Can I come back to my snakes, please? Allow me to go the way I am. I'm a professor of law. We will rear snakes. If we did snake farming, each venomous snake farmer will earn an average of $6,000 or $600,000 per vial antivenom. Kadogo tu hivi unanyonga kidogo, kanatoka chui, kanaingia kwa chupa. Ako peke yake is 600 Kenya shillings unaweka kwa mfuko. Unaiwacha inaendelea. Alafu inasemekana hapo ya kwamba, for example, a cobra farmer will make $6,300 from a vial of cobra antivenom. If you harvest black mamba antivenom, a Kenyan farmer will take $5,300 per vial. Supposing you have 3 snakes. Nyoka 3 tu, na mtaonyeshwa kuvuga. Mtaonyeshwa how to keep them. You will be shown because the government will give you money from ganja to put a proper infrastructure. Here you are a ganja farmer. Na unaweka uchimani ya nyoka kule kwa ganja, ndio mtu asije kukuibia usiku. Alafu una harvest both sides. Will you not be happy? Will you not be happy? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that we have wealth. We have wealth in our country. We don't need to depend on these people anymore. You had the Rastafarian saying here. They said something about Patricia Lumumba. They talked about Haile Selassie. They talked about freedom of emancipation from slavery. When we look around ourselves and we ask ourselves questions, for how long are we going to be dictated upon? For how long are we going to be unemployed? For how long are we going to be told lies? Kazi kwa vijana, alafu napewa wheelbarrow na kijiko. So mmepewa hiyo. Alafu naambiwa at the bottom up ikienda juu na wheelbarrow. Na wewe umesoma kizungu, wewe umesoma kwa university, unaenda nyumbani, unaambiwa ati sisi tutakupanga, ati kina boda boda, kina mama. There will be no mama mboga in our government. Kila mtu atakuwa ni enough. There will be no wheelbarrows in our government. Kila mtu alikuwa enough. There will be no hypocrisy in our government. Kila mtu atakuwa enough. There will be no lies. There will be no lies in our government. Kila mtu atakuwa na yake. There will be no theft in our government. Kila mtu atakuwa na pesa yake. Ukienda Greater Somalia, which hived itself from Somaliland, or let me say Somaliland Republic, kulikuwa na mambo mengi ya shifter na gorilla na nini, lakini saizi ukienda huko, you can leave your money safe. You don't need to have a bank outside na unalala kwako. Lakini hapa mtu anakuibia, alafu anakuja kukuambia wheelbarrow. Mwingine anatoka huko, anakuambia I'll give you 6,000. What can 6,000 do to you? Surely. What can 6,000 do? I'll give you 6,000. Nawe mwenyewe tuambie ile pesa uko nayo ulitoa wapi? Wewe tuambie kila siku your family ndio wanaenda bunge wanakuwa hii na come on Kenyans, wake up. My brother is here. He's not even a member of the Roots Party. Where is he? Hey, can you stand up? Yeah. That's my brother, anaitwa Muzito Warumba kwa small radio station kule Bungoma. Lakini yeye namtreat tu kama nyinyi. Hakuna special treatment hapa. Alikuwa anataka kusimama kura, just sit down. Nikamwambia it's your democratic right but not on my party. Because ukijaza mama yako, brother yako, nyanya yako, auntie yako, mnaenda bunge kufanya nini? Why can't you give other people an opportunity? Why can't you give a Rastaman an opportunity as a nominated member of parliament? Why can't you give people who are down there opportunity to be who they are? Why must you be the one having everything? Ukiendesha gari ukienda mahali karibu na mtu mwingine ukiona nyumba to otno en marnga, yani hiyo nyumba ni ya nani? Unataka kujua mwenye hiyo nyumba kama amekuletea pesa. Justina is a very strict person here, and my Secretary General Adam also just stand around here to be seen. Watu hawana mchezo. When it comes to nomination, ukija na meno ya paka watakwambia get out of this place. Thank you, Justina. Sisi nomination yetu ilikuwa kali sana. We did not want hooliganism. You'll never see Professor's brother or sister akiwa karibu na mimi. Brokers, that's what I'm talking about. There's no brokerage. All of you are my brothers and sisters. That's why I'm here. Mchina, nitakuja kwa Mchina baadaye. We will export dog meat. Wengine wameanza kusema tu ati wengine, there's nothing wrong kulala na umbwa yako. There's nothing wrong kutembea na umbwa yako. Dogs are medicine to us also. They are healing. But then we have got excess market of dogs in Lubao market in Kakamega, where we have so many poor people. Where I come from, we have so many dogs. The dogs that were in Madare North, wa China walikula wakamaliza. Unasikia tu kadogi kamefanywa kitu, kamewekwa dawa, kamepotea. But we shall export dog meat to China. We shall export hyena meat in China. Because fisi, hatuhitaji fisi katika Kenya hii. Mchina anakulanga fisi. Na tukichukua mimi nasikia 1000 fisi 1000. Fisi 1000 wanaume wako na makende 2000. Na mimi nasikia hiyo makende ya fisi ni dawa kwa China. Let's speak it the way it comes. Kwa hivyo hiyo makende iko na bei mingi sana kushinda hata ganja. Kende moja ni karibu milioni 6. Kwa hivyo we shall export makende ya fisi, dog meat, pamoja na fisi.
Tingiza mti, tingiza mti, tingiza mti.
1 kilogram of dog meat costs 6 times more than the price of a kilogram of goat meat. Kenya exports beef, goat and lamb the Middle East, for instance, wherever it is. Kwa hivyo nimewaambia tena, acha nirudie hiyo point nikiemphasize. Nyama ya nyoka inaenda China. Wakishakula then tumelipa.
Tingiza mti.
Alafu ngozi ya nyoka takuwa na industry hapa ya kutengeneza viatu na kutengeneza kila kitu. This time we are the ones going to export snake skins. Hatutapeleka huko ndio atuuzie tena. Tuendelee. Number 4. Haya, hapa nataka mnisikize vizuri. Hapa nataka mnisikize vizuri. Kuna mtu anaitwa Kemsa. Kuna mtu anaitwa Kimoror Dam. Kuna mtu anaitwa Kura. Kenya Rural sijui nini roads. Tunajua hizo contracts nani wamechukua na kawagawanya. Family ngapi? 3 tunazijua. Niseme nisiseme? Haya. Tuna procurement issues na my sister here has a masters in procurement. Ikitokezea mahali kuna familia ngapi? 5 ambazo zimegawanya Kenya. Mimi niko na solution. Because hatuwezi kufanya hivi kila wakati mtu anatoa pesa. Anakuwa the most revered faithful, naenda kununua Mungu ndio akulinde na pesa za wizi. Mungu hatakubali mwizi aende amununue. Hata Yesu mwenyewe alikataa kununuliwa alipoonyeshwa ati in my kingdom hiyo yote ni yangu. Hii mikate iko hapa, kuna tudemu hapa, namna hii na namna ile, inama chini unipigie magoti. Yesu alimwambia huyo mtu alisema nini? Mnasikia hiyo ni yenu. Kwa hivyo hapa kumekuwa na watu they just take no discipline in our society, especially in those who are in social fabric, who are bound to bring social relationships within people. If you see somebody who is meant to cure you emotionally, psychologically, and to bring you back to fold, taking stolen money without asking the source of that revenue, taking stolen money, buying himself a can and enriching himself. The same way somebody tried to bring 200 million to me. Ati nichukue hiyo pesa ndio niende ni campaign kwa opponent yake, ndio opponent yake aanguke. Imagine what would have happened to all of you who believe in us. Ninunuliwe na pesa kidogo ndio sasa ile furaha mko nayo iende chini. Nitatembea Nairobi, simtaninyonga. Simtaninyonga. I am on the ballot to do that. We shall hang those people when we put legislation in place When we suspend the constitution, part of what we are going to ask them is, can we revert to death penalty? Or can we hang them? Because in China, when you steal in China, they hang you. In Japan, when you suspect yourself to have stolen from the government, you commit suicide. In Britain and America and Germany, they take you to jail. But in Kenya, you go to parliament. That is why you see a lot of punitive laws from Nakada, punitive laws and proclamation from those who believe that they are near a God, telling you, munapotezwa na huyo. Because they know that you are going to seal the loopholes of corruption and the loopholes of free things, because you will have enough money, which will enable Kenyans to build their own churches and mosques. Because if you have the Bible or a Quran, you can directly pray to God, personally, personal relationship with God. Or you can hire a pastor to come and pray for you, right or wrong. But we shall not have thugs who will walk with the Bible and spit on your head and come and tell you that I can see there is a demon here. If they cannot remove the demon from themselves, how can they remove your demon? Those people who are casting the Rastafarians, those people who are casting other people, huyu ni shetani, shetani ashindwe. But he himself is Satan. Watu lazima wajiangalie, watu lazima ambie watu ukweli, watu lazima preach the right message to the Lord. Watu lazima tuangalie namna hiyo. Hamwezi kuja kulabel the people who want to emancipate you guys from chains of slavery and mental slavery. That, oh, now huyu ametumwa, huyu ni Satan. Wacha nikuwe Satan, but if you follow me, then we shall together go to heaven, if heaven is there. Hallelujah. We are going to write down 3 things. Number 1, ukiwa umepatikana na hatia, umeiba, kutakuwa na choices of kifo. Number A, sentence itakuwa hivi. How do you like to die? Number A, lethal injection. Number 2, being stoned. Number 3, being shot, firing squad. Or number 4, being hanged. I love there will be a caveat there that if you choose number 4, being hanged, then utatengenezewa ugali, na chapati, na kuku, ndio ukienda kufa uwe umeshi. Kwa hivyo we are going to have hemp. We are going to have a rope made out of hemp. Ile ikikamata mara moja unakufa saa hiyo. Kweli rongo? If we kill about 14 of them, wengine wata. That's what has happened in China. Huko huwezi kuiba. 2 weeks ago they hanged 2 mayors because of corruption. Lakini ile napenda sana ni ile ya Afghanistan. If you are a politician and you have stolen, your hanging method is different from a civil servant. Ukiwa politician, unawekwa sigara kwa mdomo hapa. Kwanza unavalishwa suti na tai, alafu wanafufunua hivi. Wanaweka kamba hapo, wanaweka huko juu. Majuu kabisa. Alafu wakishaweka hivyo, wanakuhakishia sigara, wanakuambia vuta kwanza ukisema mashetani yako. Then they hang you to forget about you for life so that people don't come and steal from us again. Nyonga mwizi! Nyonga mwizi! Nyonga hao! Nyonga hao! Amen. Aka kachuma kutoka Mombasa mpaka Naivasha. Ako kachuma na kaweka ndani ya meli. Nachukua tu Chinese tunaweka kwa hiyo meli na magunia 500 ya bangi. Tunaambia nendeni kwenu. Why am I speaking like this? China is rotten. Wherever the Chinese go, there is a problem. Can I say it? Niseme nisiseme. When they went to Sri Lanka, they took the port of Sri Lanka as collateral. Sri Lanka now is bankrupt. The embassy cannot even afford to pay. It is rent. Civil servant cannot be paid because China has taken their port as collateral. When they went to Mozambique, they took Beira as collateral, the port of Beira, gone. When they went to Zambia, they took Lusaka International Airport, gone. When they went to Uganda, they have taken Entebbe Entebbe International Airport is under siege. But Museveni has done one thing, and Dr. Gott is here, who has worked for Museveni for years. I am sure, if you didn't advise him, I don't know. Museveni saw that Ugandans were going to lynch him, and you know what he did? He called in the Israelis, and he gave them 150,000 acres to grow weed. Kusema, fanyeni haraka, nilipe hawa watu Entebbe isiende. Museveni has legalized weed as a result of the Chinese mismanagement of African economy and neocolonialism. And what the Chinese are doing in this country is very pathetic. We don't know whether they have taken Lamu, whether they have taken Mombasa, and whether they have taken where? Naivasha, no, Kisumu. I'm told they have taken it, if you read today's newspaper. If it is true that they have taken those 3 ports, and then when it comes to our graduate engineers, civil engineers, who are supposed to do their job properly, hao ndio wanafanya kazi ya mkono, mchina anakaa pale, ile mchina ambaye alikuwa amehukumiwa anakuja hapa kufanya kazi kama kafiri, yeye anakaa hapo, kanakaa hivi, tunakaanga hivi na tule tumachotoa tudogo, wanachunga wa Kenya. That's why our roads have become accident zones. Our roads in Kenya, zile built by Chinese, they have become prone to accidents. Sasa wameanza tumaua tuingine hapa. Wanasema kwamba, wanasema ati, hiyo tu vitu naona tule tumkebe tu plastic, ati Jesus Christ. Ati hiyo tumkebe wanaweka maua. Hiyo maua imepewa kandarasi wa Kenya fulani, wa familia fulani. Tumekufa tu, na China ndio wamele, hiyo itakuwa ni bangi.
Ingiza mti.
Of course, as my deputy has said, we shall regulate the growth of bangi for purposes of export and medicinal. The Chinese people will have to leave. I'll be on the 9th, after I've been sworn in, I think, wherever that date, after 2 days, I'll recall Kenyan ambassador to China, immediately to Beijing. And I'll ask the Chinese government to recall the ambassadors, that we start fresh negotiation, and I'll cancel all those contracts. I'll want to know, and Kenyans will want to know, who made these contracts, who signed this contract, what was the kickback? And I'm putting those people on notice. Anyone who was involved in those contracts, alive or dead, you will have to be accountable. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use members of the military. I'm going to call our men and women in the barracks, because they are more disciplined than some of these people. I'll commingle their soldiers, particularly those who have studied law, in special tribunals to help me work on this country. The goodness with the Kenya Army or members of armed forces is that if they are put somewhere, they work clean. And that's why His Excellency, the President of this country, took one of them, General Mbadi, to Nairobi County, and you have seen what Mbadi has done. Hasn't he done something good? Who can clap for General Mbadi? His Excellency, the President, has also gone to Kenya Meat Commission. Hasn't he revived it by putting a general from the Kenya Army? Why can't I also tell our men in the disciplined forces to come out of the barracks and work with us, because they are Kenyans? When they came out to work on Uhuru Park, the engineering battalion from Kenya, they made something which is permanent. If you go to Uhuru Park, walitengeneza kitu safi. Therefore, I'm appealing to our members in Kenya Armed Forces that hata nyinyi, especially the engineering battalion, na vijana wetu wa engineer, mtatoka barracks, mtakuja kujenga barabara zetu, tuwe na specifications zetu. Ile pesa ambayo tungepatia wa Chinese itabaki hapa, because tutakuwa na enough money from Bangi, tutakuwa na enough money from Venom, so that we can prosper. This is a nation of prosperity. This is a nation of prosperity. I know that some people are going to say later on that, oh, huyu mtu anataka kuharibu watoto wetu. Shindwe. Ukienda Jamaica, Jamaica is a great country. Jamaica is a country that grows bangi. Israel grows bangi. Ukienda Jamaica, the number of mental patients in Jamaica is not even there. Lakini ukienda Mathare Mental Hospital, outpatients are 60,000. Inpatients are 20,000. Now, do you want to tell me that I'm mad? I am a madman. I'm a madman to say, or to pinpoint at realities. And what kind of medicine are they given anyway in Mathare? Hawapewi dawa. Sisi tuwapatia msokoto wavute tu na watoke. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ukiona mchinese anakuja anaandika mtu Kenya alafu anamchapa viboko, atamechelewa kazi. Shindwe kabisa. Shindwe kabisa. Washindwe. Next. Do you have more? Yes. Tutafanya kazi siku 4. I'm telling employers and the middle class that we shall open up a 4-day working formula in a 24-hour open economy, where we shall have infrastructure working for 24 hours. Then we shall have 8-hour shift, whereby if you go in the morning at 8, you leave at 4. Somebody goes to work at 4, he leaves at 11. And the last shift is from 11 to 6 in the morning, which will mean that the rate of employment will increase. The relationship between employer and employee, the relationships between employer and employee will be cordial. Labor laws that are very restrictive will be abolished. And then on Friday, the Muslim community in the entire Kenya will have a holiday. And Kenyans will also be free on Friday in a 24-hour economy, 8 hours a shift, double production. What are we losing anyway? On Saturday, the Seventh-day Adventists is your day. And on a Sunday, Hallelujah churches, your day. But the minority Rastafarians, every day. Besides the Ministry of Hemp, which will be headed by Dr. Gwada, there will also be the Rastafarian and Minority Ministry, where a Rastafarian will become the first minister in my government in this part of the world. And pregnant women, pregnant mothers, we shall have enough money to take care of you as soon as you become pregnant. We are told you are by scientific evidence. Because you are 2 in 1. A woman carries somebody in her stomach for 9 months. That person kicks that woman, does all the damage in her to make her think the other way around. Then after the child is born, the child has actually to have accessories of a mother. They TT the mom, putting scars on her body in terms of those scars when mtoto ananyonya. Kuta mwingine ni wazimu, badala kunyonya mama hapa, anauma. Those scars are painful. They're emotional. And then after that also, a mama takes responsibility of that child. It's my sincere hope that mothers will be given, pregnant mothers will be given a stipend, whether married or not married, to take care of themselves for that period. We shall have enough resources, and whoever touches on a woman, the punishment will be there, and that one will come when we take over. We are also like, no, we shall talk, because you also know that there are some men that are beaten by their wives. Like mimi bibi yangu amenipiga twice, na mimi nasema it's okay. I walk away. Akinichapa kofi nasema thank you mom. I walk away. Then she comes looking for me and say, honey, can you come back? What about if I slapped her back? Will we have peace in that house? Sometimes there is that coffee I love. Mtu anakuchapa kidogo ndio ive. Ama namna gani? Alafu wewe unatoka huko, unaanza kuweka mangumi kwa mama. You are punching what? There will be a severe punishment for those people who do that. There will be no domestic violence in my government. But even if there will be, we shall have to look at them and find out the solution. We shall not rush to the police stations when we have other mechanisms that we can solve domestic problems. The issue of the police or police will come later on. And let me tell you this. Having been a police officer myself, I am so bitter when I see people abusing policemen. What you don't know is that policemen are underpaid. What you don't know is that anything that comes from the government is heaped on a policeman as a punching bag. Wengine wanaenda Japan or China wanakuja hapa wanasema kuanzia leo askari atavaa uniform ya blue. The constitution says, that's why we want to abolish it, that to constitute me, to make me, please ask me to have popular participation in what you want to transshape me. Police officers are never asked. They are given orders. you find that a graduate police officer today, when he joins police service, the police service as a constable, he earns the salary of a constable. A graduate police officer who joins the police as an inspector of police earns the graduate salary. But these people all help loans and interests. Now you tell me, somebody is being given peanuts and somebody is given that, and also the moral solidarity is not there. There is morality, there is solidarity with the morality, because if the two classmates who have joined the police, one as a constable and one as an inspector, earning different salaries, don't you think tuko na shida hapo? Don't you think that we should be proud of our men and women and empower them to do the right work, empower them so that they don't become corrupt, empower them so that they don't become pets of corruption? Don't you think that the police officers should be recognized through empowerment so that they are given the right dues, instead of being given 15,000 shillings to rent a house in Nairobi, na unaenda na bunduki yako, no vehicle? Police officers are on top of my agenda. We shall make the best police force in the country, with one exception, that they will not be arresting Kenyans, because there will be no need of arresting them. We shall have enough money to take care of everybody. So, we shall have a 24-hour working economy. I don't know whether that was number 6. Did we have number 6? Now, number 7. Yeah, number 7, please. These are the commandments of German. These are the commandments of our manifesto. We will suspend the constitution. I've spoken about that. I will ask Kenyans, through the preamble of We the People, which supersedes the entire constitution. I'm a lawyer, for God's sake. A lot of lawyers here are very ignorant. They always say the constitution says. The constitution says. But they have no idea of what they are saying apart from simplicity in law school. Unaenda unasoma kadigri kamoja, unakuwa lawyer, unajifanya umejifanya wengi. Na sisi tumesoma mpaka tumechambua kila kitu. Let them know that the word, the constitution, is in the preamble. Those first words that start. Hii ingine inakuja huku. That is supplementary. The preamble says we the people. That's where we stop. So long as you give me the mandate to be the president, I'll go back to the preamble and say, I've been given the rights of we the people. And therefore, I will have a right to suspend the constitution, put it on hold, and ask Kenyans, translate it in all tribes, all languages, and ask Kenyans, what is it that you want? In judiciary, how comes that cases take longer in Kenya than any other place? How comes that corrupt people are jailed for 67 years, they appeal, and when they come out of the appeal, they go to seek for electoral seat? Come on, you know who we are talking to. How comes that that case of Chicken Gate versus IEBC, which was 10 years ago, is still ripe in Kenya, and those who committed the same felony, fallacious felony, in Britain have been tried, those found guilty were jailed, and they're out of jail 4 years. Hapa, akina Oswago are still walking freely, whether he's innocent or not. Let me tell you, the judiciary, wherever you are, the Chief Justice, wherever you are, I'm telling you, as a brother, I am telling you, judges, you will have to account for all your wealth. Because once we suspend the constitution, it will not be bread as over. We shall ask Kenyans to review the constitution and find out whether they will want domestic trials by jury, traditional trials by the elders, or dispute alternative mechanism from the bottom, from down there. Mtoto akipigana na mwenzake, na they are brothers, they come from the same clan, or they are Kenyans. Let the parents intervene. Ask both parents, what do we do with these children? Rather than kuchukua mtoto ambaye is not even 18 years old or is not ripe enough to know what he's doing, unatupa kwa police station. Unampeleka huko mtoto ambaye alikuwa anasoma, anakutana na watu wengine huko ambao anamfanyia maovu, unampeleka kotini, unampeleka rumande. Is that the kind of judicial system we want? All the judges and magistrates who have been taking cases from here to there, and I'll find out if a case has been pending for 5 years, I'll look at all those magistrates and judges, and we shall ask them, how comes hii case imechukua miaka mingi? What interest did you get in it? Tutawanyonga hao. Nyonga hao. Nyonga hao. I'm the first person to say this, and I don't fear them, because hao huenda choo vile mimi naenda, hao hulala vile mimi hulala, You know, I'm angry, but I'm a president. I can't show my anger. But hawa watu. Semeni hivyo. Hawa watu. Hawa hizi. Wanyongwe. Thank you. Number 8. Nairobi is overpopulated, right or wrong? Tanzanians wameanza na Dodoma as a capital city, administrative city, because of congestion in land. Nigeria have put up Abuja as their capital. In Kenya, I would suggest that we create a new capital in Isiolo, because Isiolo has got so much land that if we start building, we cannot even finish. We shall take our administrative capital in Isiolo. We shall improve the lives of the people of Isiolo and Northeastern and Eastern by taking our infrastructures and asking companies that want to build up or to move to Isiolo to give them tax rebates, to encourage them to be like Delaware, so that those who are willing to go and build Isiolo, we exempt them from tax for the first 5 years to attract investment. Dubai was built on the sand. But here, everybody here wants to stay in Nairobi. We now have jiggers in Nairobi. Nairobi River has been polluted. The soil is compressed. The sewage system is compressed. You find these rich men going to acquire government land and building houses on them. Hizo zote kabla tujanyonga tutang'oa zote ziende chini. Ng'oa yote vitu ya wizi. Ng'oa yote. Na wale ambao wanarukaruka hapa wanasema ati waje niwaambie kwa kitu. Unajua Kenya sometimes we are Fallopians. Let me speak like a Luo who never went to university. And Fallopians, but the tribe aspect is not here, though I speak the language, but I'm a Kenyan. This issue of branding people, these people of selling people that are in projects, imetoka kwa wale ambao mnajua. Sisi as Roots Party, we are very neutral. Hatuna matusi, we are Rastaman. Rastaman never accuses anybody. Hawa sasa wameanza kunichukua na Justina, huyu yuko Azimio, huyu yuko, washindwe kabisa. We are on the ballot, that's what I'm trying to say. And Isiolo people, wherever you are, mahali mupo, Isiolo mupo, tunakuja huko kujenga new capital city, na mniruhusu nikiwa rais wenyu, hata State House itaenda Isiolo. Parliament will be shifted to Isiolo. State House will be shifted to Isiolo. Administrative buildings zitaenda Isiolo. Hapa will remain as an industrial city. Tuambie watu ya Kiambu ya kwamba you have fed Nairobi, you can as well now do your thing and feed Isiolo. Kweli rongo? Asante. Na iko ingine imebaki. Now, this is where some people go crazy. Everyone wants an identity. If you go to Nigeria, for example, and you go to Ondo State, the number plate ya magari Ondo State in Ondo 1, Ondo 2. Ukienda Lagos, utaona magari imeandikwa Lagos State, the pride of the state. But in Kenya, we're going to introduce 8 regions for administrative purposes. And we shall have chief ministers in each region. Counties will remain within regions. The federal government will operate from Isiolo, whereby each state will have its own parliament, and each state will have its own counties. We shall no longer have 47 governors. We shall have county officers, and whatever state wants to name them or to conjugate them into what have you, it will be there. So that tukiwa na Rift Valley, for example, Nakuru will be the capital city of Rift Valley. And then if a county like Narok produces unga ya ngano, wheat, tourism, hides and skins, the revenues collected in Narok will be debated in the capital city of Nakuru, whereby it's up to the Nakuru city, the Nakuru parliament to decide. When it comes to appropriation of funds and taxation, wataangalia waseme which county has got more revenue. Let us apportion this kind, 70% or 60% to this county. then 10% can go to federal government to help us in administrative issues, rather than the current system which we have, where all monies are collected by the government, and by the time they go to governors who have become thieves. In fact, I'm going to prosecute almost all of them. I'm going to ask them why they are joining Azimio. Magavanas wale ambao tunajua wameiba, wengine wameenda Azimio, wengine wameenda Kenya Kwanza kusimama kama MP ndio wapate wamepeana watu pesa ndio wafunike ile uchafu yao. Mnaelewa ama muelewi? Alafu ndio sasa wasimame ile pesa ambayo wameiba ipotelee huko. Hapana. Serikali ya Justina na Wajakoya tutakunyonga tu. A governor will never hide from ninth. Wale magavana ambao wamemaliza 2 terms, you have nowhere to go. You can run, and you can run, but we shall hold you accountable for all the monies. That's why we are proposing 8 regional assemblies, so that people can be accounted to those assemblies. So that when we come now to instrumentalities of commerce, let me speak now like an educated man. When it comes to instruments of commerce, instrumentalities, something owned by the federal government, something owned and paid for by the federal taxes. For example, a highway that is coming from Mombasa, passing through various counties, will be the responsibility of the federal government to maintain. Now, where there is a federal instrument, like a telephone communication wire, which passes from one state to another state, the taxes that are levied on that will be proportionate to what the government has gotten from the state government, whereby we may have 2 sets of taxation. The federal taxation, when you pass through the instrumentalities of commerce, you want to drive your goods from Mombasa to Naivasha, you pass through other counties, then you have to be levied tax to maintain the federal roads that you are driving on, right or wrong. And on top of that also, what I want to say is that there are so many people who have lost their revenue as a result of that Kachuma railway. There are men and women who had infrastructural services, such as transporting functionaries, where we had people with lorries who are transporting goods from the port of Mombasa to the interior of Africa. People who had employed almost a workforce of 500,000 tani boys na loaders, whose monopoly was taken away from them and given to SGR. And those people have been made bankrupt. Those people who are employed by them have been made redundant. My government is going to pay all of them. As we eject this railway, before I go to that point to finish, as we remove that Kachuma, we shall have a new modern technology designed by Kenyan engineers in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of our instrumentalities like railways and highways, in terms of our airports and waterways, whereby the state government of Nakuru will have now to find out how communication and transportation will be made easy by building their own airports from the monies and subsidies that will be getting from monies generated from counties, and also the federal government. Which means that if you look at the proportionalities of the monies that we talked about, the generating revenue from bang and snake farming, we shall have enough money to take care of everything. We shall no longer be pigeons of anybody. We shall no longer be looking at things. And before I continue, we shall introduce the underground rail system in cities. We shall have people now to decongest, because there will be no borders will be rich, because there will be no mamambogas. We want to make transportation system equitable in terms of equity, requiring clean hands as opposed to unclean hands. We shall build the underground systems, and we shall start by demonstrating on projects from Isiolo as a city, as we build cities going up and up. And therefore, the logic behind creation of 8 states is by having state identity. I come from Kakamega, let me say it like that. We shall have the Kakamega, Western state, maybe Kakamega will be the capital, or Busia, or Bungoma, and we shall have tags on our licensing motor vehicles made from, let me say Kakamega, Unajua wewe ni mtu wa Kakamega, ikiwa ni Kiambu 1, ikiwa ni Central, ilikuwa Central 1, you be proud of your heritage. So that people who are outside can come back in this country and say, we are happy. Instead of having a central government where the president makes it all, takes it all at home, where we have had some Phoebians of insolvency, or Phoebians of immorality, or Phoebians of insolidarity, who come in with things like BBI, so that they can have handshakes to please themselves, to have themselves in power forever, to have their children and wives take over from the poor people. We shall not allow that. In my government, we shall not allow that kind of discrepancy. Point number 9, 10, we shall deport all undesirable aliens. We shall deport the Chinese first. Wa China watakwenda kwao, tutawapatia makende ya fisi, tutawapatia nyama ya fisi, tutawapatia nyama ya nyoka, tutawapatia bangi, wakae kwa, tuendelee na kwe, na zile contracts wa China wamesign kuchukua port zetu, if that is true, I will cancel them, and I will cancel all contracts so that Kenya is redesigned to be built again. Ladies and gentlemen, as I leave, I would like you to pledge one thing. We need peace. We don't need to fight. When we live here, let's live as Rastas. Let's live with order. You saw us in Kakamega. You saw us in Busia. You saw us in Kisumu. Did you hear or did you see any incident where a stone was thrown at us? Because we just appeared. We just appear, and people follow us. We went to Kirinyaga, we went to Embu, we have been to reggae clubs, and continue spreading the word. Kenyans have become millionaires because of me. They have made shirts out of me to earn a living. They have made stickers, and the only way you can demonstrate DJ, and my DJs what of course mtakuwa na ministry yenu, is to spread the word the way you are spreading. Ukitengeneza kitu kama wile mama ambaye ametengeneza vikombe na picha yetu ama ya Justina, tengeneza, uza, upate hela, uweke kwa mfuko until bangi yetu ya kwanza itaiva mwaka ujao. Asanteni sana. May God bless you. God bless you. Wajakoya! 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 Can I have my deputy to come and say what?
Sijasikia kelele mzuri ya the fifth.
Now, my
Wait,
deputy,
wait.
hold on. My deputy will have something to say. Then it will be closed by the German, the Pope. I thought I was the Pope of Ganja. But today we have the Pope man. The Pope man, the spiritual man. Me, I'm the Pope of Ganja, right?
The fifth.
Mimi ndio Pope of Ganja.
The fifth.
The
The
fifth.
fifth.
Yeah. Thank
The
you.
fifth.
The fifth. Thank you.
Naomba kidogo rais, iko vijana wanataka wa perform, then we can close. We have wakardinali in the house. Wakardinali, then we can close. Sindio? Wakardinali. Yeah? Fire.
Mwiroreri wa Kameme TV, uguo niguo maundu magitarie kiharo-ini gia Kasarani guku Nairobi, kuria munene wa mutongoria wa bururi Ndagĩtarĩ William Ruto na mbutu yake ya Kenya Kwanza marakiruguria kioneki kiao kia maundu maria makihingiria muingi mangikahota gukioya thirikari. Naguo mwena ucio ungi no ikiona ni nyumba-ini ya micemanio ya KICC kuria muhuraniri wa giturwa kia president na tigiti wa kiama kia Roots Party George Wajakoya na kina ikorwo gikiruguria kioneki gia kina gitariria muingi maundu maria gakiga muhari-ini wa mbere. Tukiuka kuri ugo mwena wa Kasarani kuri maundu maingi muno makiria, ngwataniro ya Kenya Kwanza ikorwo ikigweta na njira nene muno makiria ari hamwe na wikorwo magikimurika uhoro wigie urimi gukiria ahuri biashara nini, uhoro wigie githomo gatagati ka maundu mangi, na oho ni maikorwo magikihutia uhoro wigie thiri na maikorwo kana mitaratarire maikorwo magikigathika gwitigira ati thiri wa bururi maikorwo gicoka na thi. Igongona riu murereri wa Kameme TV no ragithie na mbere na macio no mamwe ma maria maikorwo magikihanika kwambiriria mathaine ma thinacara na nuthu nginyagia mathaine maya, no tuwaikiona mwena wa Kasarani munini wa mutongoria wa bururi Ndagĩtarĩ William Ruto no agithiĩte na mbere gũkĩamũkĩra ciũria kuma kũrĩ mũingĩ na wĩcokia na njĩra ĩgwete. Reke twĩkĩrĩre gaturumo hau nĩngetwo Nũngari wa Kamau tũgũcokerie ngatho nĩ gũcagũra mĩtambo ya Kameme TV na tũkĩmwendithĩrie ũtukũ mwega.